good? You rocking with your boy Czar, all rights reserved. Cesar, however you kick it, the greatest nation since United Nations. Now let me quickly address this, and then I'll let you guys get your night together. As this weekend we're going to have it lit, and the next 2 weekends coming there's going to be a live stream. Now let me ask you this: who has the rights and the ownership to the music websites that I'm seeing? Now, why is this of importance? Not because we're being petty, not because it's questionable that where this so much of unfiltered and unheard music is going to come from. Now, we've seen a lot of different social media sites controlling the music. Who's really profiting off of it? Are the right people profiting off of it? We see a tour coming up. We know he was always there for it. I watched several things that showed he was a very selfless person in giving to those around him. And it really makes me think, who's really benefiting from what it is he has to give to the world? Who's really benefiting from the use and interaction of what it is he's left behind in a legacy? Now, these are very important factors, being we know the type of contention that goes on in different discussions when his name comes up, the type of questions that get asked to affiliates, the way they interact and different things. And it seems he really had good intentions for the music makers around him. Now, the questioning that I did had to do with the music makers that were not detailed around, the people that made music that were not actually being heard and seen, even those who never made music and it just wasn't something that they did. These are very questionable moments for me because it gives me insight into the types of characters that are surrounding this superstar of a rapper who's left a very impressionable legacy. This is huge. This is huge. And I mean, people won't see it now, but they won't see it till later. And that's what the problem is. They won't recognize what this means and what are they bringing to the music game that differs slash differentiates from that of which we already seen. Now, I actually have high hopes for them versus the music that I've heard coming out lately. It's not great. I believe that they're going to overdo it in some way, shape, or fashion. But at the same sense, how are they going to be accepted by the fans, especially the many millions of fans that he had? Now, we've seen a lot of likes going in their music, and there's always a lot of dislikes. People are always going to hate in their own way, shape, or fashion. That's part of marketing that all goes into the type of music that's made. But in a general sense, where does the profit come in for an artist to have the opportunity that he had, to blow up and have the recognition he had? We would all like to see this happen. We're not player haters. I would like to see someone use their art to make a come up, to make some type of legacy and name for themselves, but we don't know this to be true. We also don't know what the things are going to be that are impressionable to change the current status of what the rap game is. Yes, we're in a current era that we don't know what actually is going to be impressionable enough to change what it is that's relevant today. And that's very important going forward because we got to know what it is that influences a generation before we can speak to them, to link with them in a positive fashion. And it's about longevity. The music game is about longevity. You have artists that come in, make a great hit, make a hit here, make a hit here. If you're working up to an album, you always want a single. But the issue is you have to have several different hits that can back up that single. So they hear that song and it opens their mind. Then when they hear every other song, they're like, okay, let me check this out. And that's what makes something a solid hit. So the singles have to come in collateral with an overall great project. Now, here's my thing too, the features. You have to not have so many features. Listen, it's great to have features, but think of artists such as Jay-Z and Nas. On their greatest albums, they don't have many features. But that's why the longevity lasts, because they don't have many features, but they're still able to get the job done. Now, you want to have teamwork in a basis, but you just need maybe a song with a different artist. So out of let's give it a number, 17 songs, I might have about 6 songs that may have other artists on them featured, but it's going to be different artists, maybe one of the artists twice, but the rest of it needs to be me, and those ones that are me need to be straight bangers. You can chance to have a bad song with other artists featured. Not that you want it, but you can't chance to have a bad song that you're soloing, because that's going to turn off a listener. That's going to make them say, well, they only got like 2 or 3 good songs. That's the problem with today's music. The musicians, you have to have a topic, and your topic needs to match up closely with the title of your album. We're not getting this nowadays, and that's going to be the difference maker between who blows up and who doesn't, who's relevant and who's not, who's going to succeed in the long run and who's going to be a short-term success story. That is the difference. Also, there needs to be a clear marketing scheme. It needs to be put together, the songs arranged in a way that they build on one another, that it carries a mood throughout the album. Not your mood, but essentially the mood of your topic. See, that's where I feel a lot of artists mess up as well. You're carrying the mood of how you feel, which you're using your creativity. So you already have hands on to the subject matter and everything that it is to divulge your subject dealing with the music. But now you need to add your revenue, your emotion all into that. And when I say your revenue, I'm not talking about your chains. I'm not talking about your new cars, your brand new things, stunting, showing what girls you hang around. I'm talking about your worth. What you're worth to the game, what your music means to the overall generation, and how you can make an impact. And the artists who we love and we hear their name and we even declare to have blown up have mastered this seamlessly. That is why they are at the status that they are, because they're recognized regardless of what they do. But that's only after someone realizes that they're a hit maker. So it's not just that song that blew up. It's that when you listen to the other songs, this person's talented. They carry on that wave. This is a mind game. It's